Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Arjun Chaudhary. Here are the top stories that we're tracking for you on Friday, the 15th of May. India and China agree to resolve boundary dispute. Amnesty International condemns killing of foreign aid workers in Kabul. And Bombay Velvet brings back yesteryear grandeur and jazz on silver screen. And now for all the details. India and China inked bilateral deals worth $10 billion on Friday. The two countries also agreed to find a solution to the long-standing boundary dispute as Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi completed his second day of China visit.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi was accorded a ceremonial welcome by his Chinese counterpart Li Keqiang in capital Beijing on Friday. Both the leaders also held a delegation-level meeting to discuss a number of bilateral issues. The two countries also entered into 24 bilateral agreements in fields including education, railway, mining, space and maritime cooperation and increasing people-to-people cooperation. The neighbours agreed on the importance of resolving the long-standing boundary dispute.
On the boundary question, we agreed that we continue to explore a fair, reasonable and mutual acceptable resolution. We both reiterated our strong commitment to make all efforts to maintain peace and tranquility in the border region.
Prime Minister Modi also stressed on maintaining the balance of trade between India and China.
I had raised on our growing trade deficit. We look forward to early impact on the ground. We have agreed to create a high-level task force to develop a strategic roadmap to expand economic relations.
The Indian Prime Minister also addressed students of Beijing's Tsinghua University later in the day. After completing his one-day visit to the Chinese capital, Prime Minister Modi left for Shanghai. He is set to meet business leaders on Saturday, the last day of his state visit, which comes as a follow-up of President Xi Jinping's trip to India last year. New Delhi is eyeing at an increase of bilateral trade and more Chinese investment in India. The two Asian giants, which are the biggest markets in the world, have so far not been able to make significant progress in ties, largely due to boundary disputes. The growing presence of China in Pakistan has also been a matter of concern for India. New Delhi has also registered its protest over Beijing's move to invest nearly $45 billion for the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir.
The United States has offered to help Pakistan investigate the deadly Karachi bus shootout which left 45 Shia Ismailis dead. Calling the incident a heinous attack, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry on Thursday said Washington stands in solidarity with Pakistan and will support all efforts to bring the perpetrators to book. A group of 6 gunmen stormed into a bus carrying passengers from the minority Ismaili community on Wednesday, opening indiscriminate fire. A day of mourning was observed all across Pakistan on Thursday, with protests and shutdowns being reported from various places. The gruesome offensive, which was claimed by a splinter group of the Taliban, drew international condemnation from world bodies. Bangladesh economy will have a growth rate of 6.5%, the government has said. Even though it is less than the earlier projection of 7%, many call it a positive sign, with reference to the loss the country's economy faced during the opposition shutdowns earlier this year.
Despite the prolonged political instabilities Bangladesh came across in recent months, its economy has shown resilience, the latest government data has shown. Even after facing losses worth nearly $2.2 billion in the 3 months of the opposition-led blockade, the economy has maintained a growth rate of 6.5%. Interestingly, this is even higher than the 6.1% during the same period last year. The average per capita income also rose to $1,314 from $1,190 a year ago. With a contribution of 56.42%, service sector was the backbone of the country's economy, while industrial sector contributed 27.99%. Agricultural output made up to 15.59% of Bangladesh's economy for financial year 2014-15. Even the World Bank, Asian Development Bank and the IMF had forecast a GDP of around 6% as against the 7% projected by the Bangladeshi government, largely due to the political turmoil. The Standard and Poor had, however, for the 6th consecutive year projected a stable outlook for the economy. Bangladesh has in the recent years been one of the few countries able to keep a steady growth rate. A series of shutdowns by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party and its allies in 2014 and in January this year had nearly brought the economy to its knees, mainly affecting the garments export industry, the country's single largest income generator.
Activists in Bangladesh have demanded banning of the country's largest Islamic party, the Jamaat-e-Islami, for committing war crimes during the 1971 Liberation War. They also urge the government to extradite absconding war criminals to face the charges.
The trials in the International War Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh should continue until all the accused are brought to justice, social activist Khushi Kabir has said. She demanded the government to ensure safety of witnesses deposing at the ICT after many of them were harassed and in some cases even abducted and tortured by the accused. Kabir also reiterated the long-standing demand of Bangladeshi freedom fighters and activists to ban the Jamaat.
Jamaat-e-Islami is a party that was involved, and it has been proven that they were involved in the genocide in 1971. So there should be no questions or doubt in the banning of Jamaat-e-Islami.
The Jamaat-e-Islami, a key ally of former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia's Bangladesh Nationalist Party, is accused of fighting alongside the Pakistan Army during the independence movement in 1971. As the ICT found over a dozen of its leaders guilty of committing crimes against humanity, a number of them fled the country to escape the law. Kabir urged the government to extradite all absconding accused to face trials in Bangladesh.
I'll say they should be brought back and tried, because this is genocide that happened in 1971. There was hundreds and thousands of people who were killed, hundreds and thousands of women who were raped, and that's a fact.
The ICT was formed in 2010 by the Awami League government to try the local collaborators of Pakistan in 1971. According to government records, some 3 million people were killed and nearly 200,000 women were raped in the 9 months of civil war.
The Amnesty International has condemned the killing of 7 foreign aid workers in Afghanistan. A Taliban attack on a Kabul guest house left at least 14 people dead late on Wednesday.
The Amnesty International, in a statement on Thursday, condemned the Taliban attack targeting innocent civilians and foreign nationals in Afghanistan. Reports that several aid workers were among those killed are especially worrying. The Taliban are again targeting the very individuals and agencies who are committed to help ordinary Afghan people. Horia Musaddiq, Afghanistan researcher at Amnesty International, said in a statement, 14 people, including 7 aid workers, were killed when Taliban gunmen opened fire inside a guest house where foreign dignitaries had assembled for a musical program. Those killed also included 4 Indians, 2 Pakistanis, an Italian and a US citizen. Relatives of a slain Indian said the country's embassy in Kabul confirmed the death of their kin.
His son seen the news, followed, he called his dad by 9:30 Indian time, and he spoke to dad. Dad said, okay, the terrorist attack is happening, but I am safe. Later to that, after 1 hour, the son again called him, but after that he couldn't get him on the phone again. His last conversation was 9:30 Indian time. And today morning, by 12:30, Indian embassy confirmed his death.
Afghanistan has in the recent years become highly unsafe for foreign nationals ever since the Taliban stepped up violence against them. Indians in particular have also faced a number of targeted attacks in the past. The Indian embassy in Kabul faced major terror strikes in 2008 and 2009, killing scores of people. The Indian consulate in Western Herat also came under militant attack in May 2014.
They are the latest on-screen pairing this season, and they're ready to teleport cinephiles to yesteryears. Take a look at how a nostalgic surprise of the 1960s is set to greet audiences at the box office this weekend.
With a plot littered with street fights, shootouts and murders on one hand, and jazz soirees, tabloid wars, political rivalries, land sharks and labour unrest on the other, Bombay Velvet has all the ingredients that a period drama requires. The latest from maverick filmmaker Anurag Kashyap has current heartthrobs Ranbir Kapoor and Anushka Sharma at the core of the crime thriller set against the transformation of Bombay into a city of dreams and deep divisions. The entire cast and crew promoted the film in entertainment capital Mumbai.
कहना मैं कहानी चाहता हूँ, मैं लोगों को एंटरटेन करना चाहता हूँ, साथ ही साथ उनको दिखाना चाहता हूँ कि एक ऐसा शहर था हमारा, उस तरह की मोहब्बत होती थी उस जमाने में और किस तरह के लोग भी हुआ करते थे. मैं सिर्फ कहानी कहना चाहता हूँ, एक समय दिखाना चाहता हूँ और इस तरह की कहानी हम किस तरह से कह सकते हैं, किस तरह से उसको एंगेजिंग बना सकते हैं, किस तरह का म्यूजिक होता था. कभी-कभी वो पुराना समय जीना बहुत जरूरी होता है.
बिग शॉट बनना है ना तुम्हें, मैं बनूंगा.
Bombay Velvet tries to show its audience how Bombay mutated and went on to become India's financial capital, while the film will see filmmaker Karan Johar turning antagonist and playing a full-fledged role for the first time. Sharma turns a jazz singer.
It was very difficult to carry that, and but I guess it looks so nice on screen, and it's right for the period. But it was fun, yeah. I mean, for any actor to kind of get the opportunity to be part of this kind of costume drama is nice and fun to do sometimes in life.
मुझे कभी अकेले छोड़ा ना, काट दूंगी तुझे.
Kapoor dons the role of a street kid, wannabe boxing champ who dreams of breaking free from his struggles. Both the lead actors share a rebellious relationship.
मैं सोचता हूँ क्यों तुम्हारी असलियत नहीं बता देता तुम्हारे रोमियो को.
हमारे बीच में जॉनी और रोजी के जो किरदार है, हमारे बीच में खूनकार प्यार है. वो ऐसी केमिस्ट्री हम दिखा रहे हैं इस फिल्म के जरिए कि वो इतना प्यार करते, इतने पागलपन से प्यार करते कि खुद को मारते हैं, गाली देते हैं और 2 मिनट में चेंज कर प्यार भी करते हैं. सो इट्स अ वेरी रियल, vulnerable, volatile relationship.
Bombay Velvet is inspired from Gyan Prakash's book Mumbai Fables and tells the story about the glamorous city in 1960s, tracing the life of boxer turned mobster Johnny Balraj and his lady love Rosie. Balraj gets chance of being a big shot when a failed robbery bid brings him into contact with pro-capitalist media magnate Kaizad Khambata. The film also stars K.K. Menon, Manish Chaudhary, Siddharth Basu and Remo Fernandez.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude the top stories once again. India and China agree to resolve boundary dispute. Amnesty International condemns killing of foreign aid workers in Kabul. And Bombay Velvet brings back yesteryear grandeur and jazz on silver screen. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition, which is same time next week. Have a great weekend and good night.